Hey everyone, my name is Isaac Arthur. I'm a co-founder here at CODO Design in Indianapolis, Indiana, and this is our Craft Beer Rebranded video series where we are diving into some of the topics, chapters, and theory from our new book, Craft Beer Rebranded. Check this out over at craftbeerrebranded.com and treat yourself to a 2-book bundle today. And you will learn how to navigate each step of your brewery's rebrand. It's awesome. Okay, so anyway, in our last video, we touched on why the behind-the-scenes process, the project and process management, was just as important to a great outcome as the brand strategy and design phase itself. A huge part of that is building your project team. How do we gain consensus and how do we avoid landmines? This video will focus on building your internal team. And if you are a smaller brewery, this is relatively easy. You include everyone in the process and you call it good. But if you're a larger outfit, let's say 20, 25 or more people, then defining key stakeholder groups to talk to throughout the process becomes more important. The design firm you hire to handle your rebrand will have their own process and list of people that they want to talk to. Big red flag if they don't. But lean on them for this. So as a general guideline, I will say that we found that the following groups are invaluable to the research and project management process. The most important group for your entire project, this entire project, is the executive team. So your executive team includes the people who are directly involved in approval or veto throughout the project. So these are the folks with the final authority to decide if a proposed brand strategy direction or a logo or packaging concept passes muster or not. While an egalitarian approach is nice in theory, in reality it does create friction and lead to watered down, vanilla, terrible work. We've seen that in real life. So even in a smaller brewery, let's say less than 10 people, you should designate a small group of, let's say 3 to 5 people to actively be involved in the decision-making process during your rebrand. Among this group will be a project sponsor. That's someone who removes barriers and gathers consensus along the way. That's usually a marketing or brand director, the person that kind of initiates the project. Other key members can include the in-house team, the designers, sales director, GMs, taproom managers, your founder and CEO if they still have the capacity or if they have the capacity to be involved. And once you've identified your executive team, it's time to list out the rest of your key stakeholders. So these would be people at every different level of your business, from the C-suite on down to operations, brewing and packaging, financing, sales, marketing, customer service, distribution, key accounts, basically anyone that makes up the rest of your team and your ecosystem. While designating an executive team is crucial to ensuring you receive solid branding work and hit key deadlines, it's still important to engage the rest of your team as well. So these folks have valid opinions and different points of view. Again, it's when you give 20 people veto power, I should say, that things go off the rails. Quick process note here, CODO has found that one-on-one sessions and small group breakout conversations with like 2, 3, or 4 people over beer, like really relaxed setting, no clipboards and stuff like that, much more productive than large group kind of visioning sessions and discovery sessions and shit like that. Large group sessions require a lot of effort and planning to manage effectively. There is a very clear art to managing a large group meeting properly and getting what you need from it. And you also, when you have that environment or that setting, people just lose attention really quickly. They're texting under the table, or they're maybe granting certain people the opportunity to dominate a conversation because they're more senior or they're more louder or whatever. So we just want to make sure that everyone is heard through the process, not from some goodwill place, but because everyone has valuable opinions, including those quiet folks, my brothers in arms, those quiet folks out there who aren't really that loud. So beyond your immediate internal team, there are a few other important groups to engage. Let's start with your key accounts. That'd be folks like a key retail partner. These folks are your frontline deliverers who do more selling than most breweries realize. So if someone out there in the wild has a question about a beer, a retailer, someone behind the counter at a liquor store or in an independent bottle shop, they can make or break that sale for you. And we'd like to talk to them to get a sense of how they see the market evolving and the role your brewery plays in it. Plus, involving them in the process shows them that your brewery respects their opinion, and it can lead to even more evangelizing. The next important group is your distributor partners if you are across state lines or you have multiple folks you work with. So while your retail accounts can provide invaluable insights in the local market, your distributors have a lock on the quantitative data. They can tell you exactly how many cases of each SKU is moving per week, in what market and format, and how that all ebbs and flows with seasonal changes and stacks up against the broader market. They can also spot opportunities for marketing in emergent beer styles or adjacent category trends, seltzers, kombucha, stuff like that, or whatever the next big thing is. So I want to wrap this up by discussing two important concepts or landmines that we found that you need to be mindful of through this process. And the first is emotional intelligence. So big egos on the client side or the design side can completely derail a rebranding project. And the larger your executive team, the more susceptible you are to this. An example we've run into a few times is that someone who isn't at the brewery day in and day out has a very loud opinion that may not jibe with the rest of your team and your kind of current culture. But maybe they're an important investor or board member or even the founder in some cases we've found, and because of that, their opinion may still carry a lot of weight. So we have found that the best way to manage this is by simply engaging and listening to that person, not just pretending to include them in the process, but actually listening to what they have to say and incorporating their opinions into the overall strategy. This really is the best course of action. I don't want to be cynical and say that they just need to be heard to be assuaged, but oftentimes your own baggage and cynicism, like if I'm talking to other designers or folks out there that are managing rebranding projects, your own ego can get in the way here. So set that all aside, listen to this person or persons, however many there are, and remember that they actually may bring an important idea or insight to the table that you would not have otherwise thought of. The final design process issue to watch out for is a personal favorite. It's called the swoop. So in one of CODO's earlier brewery branding projects, about 9 years ago now, a while, we had finalized the group's brand strategy and identity design, and we were just getting into the package design phase, so we're pretty far into the engagement. When we found out that one of their investors did not like the new look. I mean, he really didn't like the new look. He really shit on it, and that's awesome. So anyway, that happens, but the problem here is that this was someone that we had never heard of, let alone talked to in our research. But he still came in with like a wrecking ball. He had enough power to veto everything we were doing, ruin it. He swooped in out of nowhere, that's the metaphor, and he dropped his negative opinions like napalm over everything we and the brewery's executive team had been working on, and he flew away into the sunset where he did not have to worry about fixing the horrendous situation he had created. Terrific. And this is our fault, my fault, really, because we didn't identify that important person during our onboarding and research phase. So I'll fast forward a bit here to say that we were able to salvage that project by making sure this investor was involved from that point forward. But please believe me when I say that it could have just as easily tanked the entire project and relationship. I mean, we could have been fired. It could have gone really poorly. So ask any designer who's been doing this long enough, and they will have stories exactly like what I just told you. The takeaway here is that if you have anyone like this in your organization, now I'm talking back to the brewing team, if you have anyone in your organization, someone that you kind of don't want involved in the process, but their opinion carries a lot of weight, they need to be included in the process early to ensure a smooth project. Do not pretend or hope that they don't need to be involved. I promise you it will not break that way. Okay, ending on a bad note there. Cool. But you know what? We're all adults. We can talk about bad things. Anyway, that does it for building and engaging your internal team today. In our next video, we're going to be discussing the important work of finding a right external design partner to handle your rebrand. Head over to craftbeerrebranded.com, grab your book bundle. One more commercial before we leave. Check this out over there. You can buy it today. They are going quickly, so check it out. And we will be back with you guys with our next video soon. Cheers.